everyone, it's Cheryl from Teaching 2 and 3-year-olds. We are in our final week of fall. I can't believe it. I'm sure I say this every year. And then we break for Thanksgiving, and then when we come back, we start our gingerbread and Christmas. Oh my goodness. So let's talk about what we will be doing our last week of our fall theme. And I also wanted to show you what we did last week as well. So first of all, as for last week, we introduced glue by making these fall collages. And when Deborah Stewart from Teach Preschool, when I did an interview with her a couple of years ago, we chatted afterwards. I just love her. And she told me how she loves giving her preschoolers and her young preschoolers and older toddlers bottles of glue. And I thought she was crazy. I'm like, I can just imagine all this glue just coming out so quickly. But I decided to give it a try, and this was a couple of years ago, and I realized that 2-year-olds and young 3-year-olds, for the most part, don't have the hand strength to get a whole bunch out at one time. So they really have to concentrate on squeezing the bottle to get a stream to come out. Now you do want to pay attention, because you never know, you might get that extra strong child who just creates a puddle immediately. So you do want to keep your eye on it. But I have found that it takes great patience for them to sit, that's hard enough for 2-year-olds, and to really focus on squeezing. So this was our first time using glue, and I told them to make the glue dance around the paper. So trying to kind of get them to move it around so it's not one localized puddle, which still happened with some of the children. And when I went into our fall box, because we like to have theme boxes in our preschool that all the teachers share, I found that somebody took some time tearing up all of this paper. And since we've been talking about the different fall colors, when we're noticing what's outside and the leaves, I thought this will be a great introduction. So they basically squeezed the glue on, and then I had them press the pieces on. Now in the past, some of my 2-year-olds have insisted on then pulling off what they stuck on. And I really expected that to happen this year. It didn't. For whatever reason, these children kept it on. But just so you know, that could happen too, and that's okay. Remember, this is the process. They're learning how. So the point here is that they're learning how to squeeze glue and put the pieces on. So that's something that we did last week. Another thing that we did was we did some color mixing in a bag. Now I will be creating blog posts for each of these soon. I'm in the process, so they're not there yet, but they will be. And basically I took our free leaf printable and I put it in a baggie, and then I squirted a few different colors in there, sealed it up, and then they pressed on the baggie to move the colors around. And it was funny because they would pick their hand up like, how come my hand isn't getting any paint on it? And then they realized, oh, the paint is in the baggie. I also gave them rollers so they could roll on top of the baggie to also make the colors move. So these are 2 activities that we did last week. And then another thing that we did was we took my T is for Turkey printable. This is free on the website. I drop links to all of these in the video's description, so make sure to check there. And then after they did their gluing, because remember, they've already been introduced, they know how to squeeze glue. After they squeezed their glue on it, then they just pressed some feathers on. Now, if you don't want to use the printable, if you want it to be even more process art, then you can go ahead and do the same thing as this, where you just take some construction paper, they put the glue on, and then they can put the feathers on. We've done that as well. And then something else that we're going to be doing this following week is we're going to be making some fall leaves. And here's one that got started. Again, they're going to put their glue all around the rim. This is a paper plate, and we've cut the inside out. Then they're going to stick their leaves all around it, and then we'll put a little hanger on the top so they can hang it. So that's something we're going to be doing this week. And there's also our thankful banner. And I have not finished that one yet. I talked about that in my last video. There's a post on my website that gives the directions, and it also gives you a free printable of the leaf template and also some labels to go with it as well. So that is also on my website. And then I also have a turkey activity. I'm going to drop the link in that has a what are you thankful for printable if you'd like to print that out, and then you ask your children what they're thankful for and then you fill it in. So all those links are in the blog. Something else that we're going to be working on, these are our Pom Fall printables. There's a whole pack of this on Teachers Pay Teachers, and I selected the pumpkin pie and I selected the turkey. And before the children got started, I just went through my pom-poms and I pulled out the colors so that then they will have their colors, and then they just match the pom-poms with the same color that's on the printable. And I laminate these simply because we use them year after year, and the other classes will use them as well, but you don't have to. You might want to copy them onto cardstock, heavier paper, it's up to you. So that is what we're going to be doing next week. We also will continue to be using our colorful fall leaf sticks. This is a freebie on my website, and there's several different leaf songs that we use this to. And I will, if you go to my Spotify November playlist, I'll drop that link in the video description as well, you will find those leaf songs, and I give the children some of these to hold, and they hold them as we sing the songs. And then new this week that we haven't done yet this year is I have my turkey props. So they're going to be holding these while we sing some turkey songs as well. So again, all of these are on the website, and I will now kind of give you a tour of what we're going to be doing in our classroom for our last week of fall before we break for Thanksgiving and then move on to Christmas. Now, before I go into a tour, I just want to remind you that if you aren't already subscribing to Teaching 2 and 3-year-olds on YouTube, you really want to do so. That way, every time I publish a new video, you won't have to go searching for it. It will let you know, and click on that bell icon. That way, again, you'll be the first to see when I publish a new video. And now let me give you a tour of our classroom. All right, so starting with our dramatic play area, we removed our farmer's market, and now we have Thanksgiving dinner. And this is a freebie that I have on the website, where I have these printables here that show some ideas for a Thanksgiving dinner. And then we have some pretend food that can work for a Thanksgiving dinner. We have our little silver out, our gravy boat. We have some canned goods. And so this is something that we will be doing during our last week before Thanksgiving break. And then over on, the reason why I'm showing you this, we've actually already done this activity, but I just wanted to show it to you because we might do it again. We washed fruits and vegetables, and I have the post, it's brand new on the website if you want to see how we did it, but it was a lot of fun. It actually connected with our farmers market and our new farmers market packet on Teachers Pay Teachers. I'll drop a link to that in the video description. But it also ties in well with our Thanksgiving dinner too. For Circle Time, we will be reading some thankful books and turkey books. One is I'm Feeling Thankful, and this little turkey. I also have these free props on the website. We have turkeys 1 to 5. That can go with a song that's on our playlist for November. I'll put a link to that in the description. Then I also have this free printable on the website. You put the turkey feathers on the turkey and you say what color they are. So if you're doing this as a Circle Time activity, you could actually make 2 copies so that you have enough, or however many you need, so that each child gets to have a colored feather, and then they can come put it on the turkey, and then they can tell you what color it is. And I just simply put Velcro on the back so it could stick to our felt board. And then I also have our turkey props, which we will be using when we sing turkey songs. And we still have our leaf props, which we've been using for the last 2 weeks, that the children like to hold while we sing our leaf songs. Over on the easel, we will be painting our T is for turkey, and we'll, I also like to just put plain paper on the easel with a variety of paint and just let the children decide what they want to do with it as well. And then coming over to our sensory bin, we have some fall leaves and some assorted pieces. And then I got sorting bowls that are the same colors as what we have in the bin, and the children can sort them. And I like to add some fine motor tools in there, so we have tweezers and we have some scoops. And then for texture, we have different pine cones, and we have corn, and we have a couple of other things that have different textures for a nice sensory experience. Around the corner, we have our reading area, and there's our family boards up there. The children just love finding their family pictures up on that board, and it's on clothespin so they can take it off. They've been laminated if they want to carry them around. And then we have our writing table. We have our T is for turkey, and this is a free printable on the website. I'll also put out our leaf printable. And of course, we always offer plain paper as well, and we'll put some other writing tools out there. Right now there's crayons, but we'll probably get some markers going there. Sometimes I'll put some stamps or some stickers out there too. Then over at our science table, we are exploring corn. We have our magnifying stand, which that's from Lakeshore, because many of you have asked about that. So that's over at the science area. And then in our block corner, we have our fire station. Now, this has absolutely nothing to do with our theme. It's something the children have expressed an interest in when we've seen fire trucks go by. And as I've said in other videos, we don't do every single center theme related. So that's why you're not finding Thanksgiving at the block area. There's our unit blocks. And then over on our light table, same thing. We have our Magnatiles, but underneath we do have some loose parts that they can add to the Magnatiles if they would like. So that's how our classroom is set up for our final week of fall, which is Thanksgiving. We will break for Thanksgiving, and when we come back, it'll be the very end of November, and we will be doing our gingerbread theme. Thanks for watching.